Evening, y'all. I was reading through my Bible, going through Matthew 12:43. And I read this twice and sat back there and actually had to ponder on it because it strikes me as being very, very similar to talking about as if they're talking about now, this generation. Let me read it to you. When an unclean spirit goes out of a man, he goes through dry places, seeking rest and finding none. Then he says, I will return home. I will return to my house, from which I came. And when he comes, he finds it empty, swept, and put in order. Then he goes and takes with him seven other spirits, more wicked than himself, and they enter the dwelling. And dwell there, and the last state of the man is worse than the first. So shall it also be with this wicked generation. Now think about this. We'll go through it here. When an unclean spirit goes out of a man, okay, you've been messing up. Whether it be alcohol, drugs, you go through rehab, let's say. You go through AA, you get straightened up. Or you're out there committing adultery, or what have you. You separate yourself from that sin, from that demon. And after you separate yourself, you get yourself cleaned up and all that, you kind of start working on that straight and narrow. This is when the demons come back. This is when a temptation comes back. And believe me, I do know about this. Far too often it happens to me. He goes through a dry place, seeking rest, and finds none. Then he says, I will return to my house. It's the demon. They're talking about the demon returning into you, from which I came, and when he comes, he finds it empty, swept, and put in order. When that demon tries to return to you, this is that first temptation, he finds that you've straightened up. He finds that you're back on the straight and narrow, and you're where you want to be. You are where God wants you to be. But he ain't going to leave you like that. Not that easy. Oh, no. Then he goes and takes with him 7 other spirits, more wicked than himself. There's some cravings coming back. That's the demons coming back. Turning you away from God. And they enter and dwell there, and the last state of that man is worse than the first. Relapse, whether it be drugs, whether it be alcohol, whether it be sex, whether it be theft, whether it be what have you. Far too often people come back even worse in their addictions. Even worse, even stronger, even more wild, even further away from what they know is right, the right thing to do, the right way to be. So shall it be also so shall it also be with this wicked generation. That's the big one. So shall it be, so shall it also be with this wicked generation. Think about this. Let's ponder this. Those of you who haven't, turned off this video yet. How wicked is the generation that we live in now? I'm not talking about us baby boomers. I'm not talking about millennials. I'm not talking about Generation X. I'm talking about all of us alive today. Look at what has been allowed to happen. Let's take New York State. New York, I ain't trying to pick on you. Let's talk about your governor for a minute. Okay? Here is a governor that when he championed and pushed through the abortion lobby to be able to murder children in the womb up into the 9th month. Think about that. Up into the 9th month. They celebrated by lighting up the Empire State Building pink. Celebrated that they were going to murder children. Now this pandemic comes along, and we can see in Italy, we can see in Spain, we can see in Europe that it is killing the elderly left and right. They're dropping like flies. And what does that said governor do? He takes infected people and shoves them into nursing homes. That's just one of his many sins. And the amount of people who think that that's just fine. It's not our fault. Things happen. People die. Really. So shall it also be with this wicked generation. All across this country. And we've been murdering unborn children since the 70s, making it legal. It's been happening before then, but making it legal. People are turning more and more away from God, more towards the world, Satan. Some of them are just flat out not even blindly to it. A lot of folks are just flat out going right straight to it. So you got spirit cookers, out in California, open satanic churches, taking the Bible and changing what's in it to suit their, I hate the word narrative, but narrative, to suit what they want to get away with, or to make it more palatable. The further we get away from the Word of God, the further you get away from God. And I'll be honest with you, that is not someplace you want to be. So shall it also be with this wicked generation. So Matthew 12:43. I originally hadn't planned on making a video on this tonight, but when I sat reading it, it struck me hard. So, y'all ponder on it, look it up. Don't just take my word for it. You got a Bible? Open a Bible up, go to Matthew 12:43, and read it. This is when Christ was sitting there kind of debating with the Pharisees after he had healed a man's hand and then healed a man that was filled with demons, and he was both deaf and dumb, deaf and mute. So, anyways, that's Sunday night Bible reading. Something I've fallen out of the habit of doing. I'm getting back on myself to get back to it. Still working on that soil soil being me. I'm still rocky soil. I'm working on being good soil. Y'all take care. Have a good night. God bless. Bye-bye.